Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Masters Muscle podcast. Before we get into the guest of the day, want to give two plugs to two of our supporters: New Jersey Gourmet Meal Prep, fresh meals, fresh ingredients, weekly deliver. I'll go ahead and put their link and a discount code down below. And if anybody is in the Edison, New Jersey area, a Pollen Gym, one of the last hardcore gyms out there, mention Masters Muscle or Sub Talk Radio and get a free daily gym pass. Anyway, Vin, episode 4, first of the month. What a great way to kick it off. Please introduce the guest of honor.
Yes, thank you, Sean. It's my pleasure. Ann and I go back probably 25, 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
I think the first time I met Ann was probably either at the Jersey or Diamond Gym.
Yeah.
And like myself, Ann has longevity in the sport. She's reinvented herself. She's a powerlifter, a bodybuilder, a mom, well-rounded individual. And welcome to Masters Muscle Podcast. How are you tonight?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm proud to be a Masters athlete along with you.
You're welcome.
We came up together. We both started in New Jersey, and I'm pretty sure I met you at a show. And at that time, neither one of us were pros. We were probably both judging.
Probably, yeah.
There was men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, and fitness. And fitness had a 2-piece and a 1-piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a long time ago.
Yeah, there was no bikini, there was no wellness, there was no
I remember when figures started. That's when so we both trained at Diamond Gym. I drove 90 minutes to get there, so I only got to go like once or twice a week.
Yep.
And John was my, I would say second mentor. My first was Joe Dodd. I don't know. Do you remember Joe Dodd?
Yeah, he didn't he run the Mr. Atlas contest?
He ran. He might have run that one too, but he also ran the Mr. and Mrs. Trenton, and he ran it like it was, a basketball game. Like he rented out a whole stadium one time, and he went. He was a little eccentric. He owned Man's World Gym in Trenton. He was very eccentric. I mean, he had a suit of iron in his gym. He like collected a lot of weird things.
I remember, yeah.
But he was the first one that talked me into doing a show at all. And at that point, I was a vegetarian.
Wow.
Yeah, I gained 20 pounds for my first show. Yeah, and
That's
then
a lot of vegetables.
What's that?
That's a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I gave that up real good. That got old real. I started studying Bill Pearl, because he seemed to manage to do that, right? He was like the token vegetarian bodybuilder, and he was a thick little dude, not even that little, but no, it didn't work out really well. I ended up going back.
What was your first contest?
The Miss Trenton. The
Trenton.
Yeah, because Joe was talking everybody into doing it. He walked across the street, he said, "Hey, let me throw some protein." You're fine, you're ready,
How did you place?
Second.
Wow, for first show, impressive.
Yeah, it was there wasn't many girls in there, and I had no clue what I was doing at all. It took me I didn't turn pro. It took me 16 years to turn pro. How many years did it take you, Vinny?
16 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know we did a couple of Masters Nationals together. We did 06 together, and I remember when I came off the stage, you were standing there, and you're like, "Oh," and I did. I looked really good for that show. You were like, "Oh," and then I came back and I did it in 2008, and you were standing there again, except this time you were working the show, and you were like, "What happened?"
Was that a good what happened or a bad what happened?
No, it was bad. It was all bad. I did bad. But
2008 is when I won it. I wasn't working.
You did.
Yeah,
yes. That's right. You weren't working. That's right.
Yeah, I won the light heavyweight and the overall.
That's right.
Yeah, and you were in it. I think. Did you place 5th?
Oh no, it was a bad year.
Oh, that bad. Okay.
It was a bad year.
Hey, we all have them, man.
2008
We all
was
have them.
just, what's that?
We all have bad years.
Oh yeah, 2008 was definitely one. I did 3 shows back to back. It was North American, USA. I did the USA 8 times.
Wow.
From
8
New
times.
Jersey. I don't know why. Why was I doing that to myself?
Well, correct. Yeah, and I try to tell people all the time, like the way we grew up in bodybuilding in New Jersey, it was like there was an unwritten rule. If you couldn't win the Suburban, you don't go to the Jersey.
That's right.
If you can't win the Jersey, you don't go to the Junior USA, let it alone the USA.
Right.
And it was
I
like
did
a
Junior
stepping
Nationals.
stone.
I took my steps.
Yeah, everybody took their steps because we produced amazing athletes. Because by the time you got to the USA, you were already like 8 years deep into training.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know?
I mean, do you remember Marvin Ward?
Of course.
He turned down his pro card 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he was another one. Yeah, we had Jose Raymond on. Jose Raymond did the same thing.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I
Well, after 16 years, you're not turning it down.
And I got it twice. I got the heavyweight and overall for over 35 and over 40.
Nice.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Did you win the Jersey in '97?
No. I won the Jersey actually in 2012 when I made a comeback. Because at that point, I had to requalify to do a pro qualifier. So when I came back, so 2008 was a bad year. I had to take a vacation.
Okay.
And it was 4 years. And then I came back in 2012 and did the Jersey. Dwayne was running it. I think it was only his like second or third. I came back from Florida for John's funeral, and I saw you there.
Mm-hmm.
And then no. I did the Jersey, and then I moved. That's what happened.
So, and were you just burnt out, or were you just kind of like you said 4-year gap? You said I'm done. We could step away, or just said I need to R&R, or what were you thinking?
It was not by choice.
Okay.
You know, it was just a really rough time, and there wasn't, it just wasn't in the cards for me and I honestly thought that was it. I thought I was going to be done. I thought, that was. I thought it was the end of a lot of things, and in the midst of that, around like 2010 was actually a really low bottom for me.
Okay.
And a lot of shit hit the fan all at once, and there was just so many unknowns in my life at that moment, and that's when John Meadows reached out from his computer and was like, "Hey, when are you going to get back on stage?" And I was like, in my living room trying to figure out who is he talking to. At that point, I hadn't even been in a gym for 2 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Maybe no, it was 4. No, it was actually 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually started training at home. And then when I could afford a gym membership, I got one. And then it took us like 18 months to kind of put me back together for the Jersey. And then from the Jersey, I did the USAs, and then it was like I kept coming in second place. USA, Nationals, it was just
dangling in front of you.
It was, because and I even took another break for like a year to get sober.
Okay.
And that was so for 16 years, I used alcohol for my carbs.
Okay.
So actually on my 90th day sober, I turned pro.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thanks. It's been almost 7 years.
And if you don't mind me asking, take us back, if you don't mind, to the teenager. Were you an athlete? Were you just an average kid, or?
There was nothing average about me. I actually just last year was diagnosed with autism. So I found out that I'm on the spectrum. So I was inundated with learning disabilities, and I was definitely on the spectrum. Now I'm a Gen Xer. We were, Vinny. I'm going to be 50 in April. How old are you, Vinny?
I'll be 56 April 18th.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And John's birthday was April 14th or 16th. It was one day apart. But so no, first of all, I grew up with 4 boys, 2 brothers that were 9 and 6 years older than me, and 2 cousins that were like within 6 months of me on either side. And they were all very tough, strong, rugged alpha types. Okay. And I am probably the shortest person in my family ever. My one brother is over 6'3". He's 400 pounds. My other brother is 6 foot. So I was like this tiny little runt. Right. And I got my ass kicked a lot. So it kind of forced me to have to, I was wrestling and fighting, as a toddler, because I just to survive,
Yeah.
So I was a pretty tough kid, and I did play sports. I loved soccer. I played soccer, and I saw my first female bodybuilder. So my brothers had a home gym, and they had pictures. All how people like a diamond gym. We put all the bodybuilder pictures around the top, like the frame of the wall, and it was all male bodybuilders. So I was never allowed in there, but if they weren't there, I would sneak in, of course, and I would look at all these pictures and stuff like that. And I would look at the weights, and I would hear them working out and music playing, and they really seemed to enjoy what they were doing. And I didn't really understand it until I saw her, and I wish I knew who she was because I have no idea. But
Wow.
I was a little girl, and you remember the Wiz, the store, Nobody Beats the Wiz?
Oh, of course.
You had to wait for your electronics, right, to come down the conveyor belt. I don't know if you remember.
Oh my God, you're going way back.
Yes.
That and service merchandise. Service merchandise was the same play.
Yes.
Consumer.
So she was waiting for something, and me and my folks were waiting for a TV. And so we're just standing there. And of course, I'm staring at her up and down and up and down. And she had a cut off sweatshirt, right? You can picture this, right? Wigwams, right?
Okay.
Big curly hair. I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's what I want. I want that. And I went home and I think it was the same year that Rocky 2 came out.
All right.
I was drinking raw eggs. Every time my brothers weren't home, I was in their gym. So that, and then I got I actually was going to the gym because my babysitter played racquetball. And the racquetball center was where the gym was for our area. Hamilton Fitness Center. I don't know if you ever made your way that far down, Vinny, but
no.
It was actually a pretty decent gym. I got my membership there when I was 12.
Wow.
Okay.
It closed right before I moved to Florida, and I was one of the last people to close the doors.
Wow.
And I'd been 30 some years. I had my wedding pictures taken there.
Wow.
So I was always working out. I was always playing sports. I was always competitive, always fighting, always scrappy. Definitely. That was definitely me.
When did you start getting into competing on the NPC level in Jersey?
Well, that's when Joe pulled me on stage for the Trenton. That was like 99. He started helping me, and I think I did the 2000 Miss Trenton. And then in 2002, I won it. That and the Physique 2002. You remember the Physique show?
Yep, I competed in the Physique in the teen Physique in '87.
Holy shit!
And remember Armando Perry?
Yes.
Remember Armando? We had like a little rivalry, and I did I want to say I had to requalify.
Okay.
And Kemper made me requalify, and I had to do a couple of shows, and one of them was the Physique, I think 97, and I beat Armando, and he was pissed, and then at the USA a week later or 2 weeks later, I said, hey Armando, I know Armand. I can't remember if it was Armando or Armand. I said,
I think it started with an O.
Armando. I said, Armando, you want to hear something funny? He goes, what's that? I go, you and I tied. And I started laughing. He didn't find it funny at all.
Oh,
He didn't find it funny at all. But the physique was a great show. That was a great show. And, that was one of the last of the originals. The Suburban, the physique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, well, I guess they still have the New Jersey.
Yes.
That's in August, right? I always threaten to come. I never get up there for it.
The Suburban is now called the John Kemper Classic.
Okay.
They changed the name.
That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And was there anybody when you fully dove into bodybuilding? Was there any females that you follow to try to be, whether it's the Linda Murray, the Laura Corval's?
Oh yeah. Oh, I could list them on. I was a total bodybuilding nerd. I had every VHS tape from every Olympia. Then when they turned to CDs, I had every CD. I could tell you if I hear a song, I can tell you who posed to it. Vince Taylor, Style. But Andrula Blanchette was the first because she was short. I'm only 5'2".
Okay.
So I'm not built like her at all. I wish I had lats that attached at my hips, but I don't. She's got a really, I mean, she's amazing. But other than Andrula, definitely Annie Revecchio.
Okay.
I mean, even, I see Annie a lot now because she shoots me. She has her own site, model site. And every time she's behind the camera looking at me, I'm looking at her and I'm just, there's like this exchange. I still look up to her. Like, I don't know. I still haven't ever achieved that, but to me, bodybuilding was about building a body. I always lifted heavy because I wanted to get bigger. And I knew the heavier I went, the bigger I was going to get. So I was always enamored with the bigger girls. I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to be mainstream. I still don't.
Why be normal?
Well, you know what, Ann? You come from a generation that understood, and I'll say it like this for lack of a better term, you understood building the house before you decorated it.
Yeah.
And today, it drives me nuts. I see so many people in the gym doing bullshit exercises and looking at themselves in the mirror, and they have nothing to show. So you understand, like, building that foundation is your bread and butter. It's my bread and butter, and you understand that.
I understand it so much that after powerlifting for 4 years, I was like, I got a big hunk of meat here. And then quarantine hit. I built my home gym like literally 14 days before quarantine.
Wow,
oh, really?
You lucked out.
I have amazing angels. I really do, because they have saved me. There's been times where I definitely should have, I don't know. Anyway, yes. So my garage, this space was filled with shit, boxes from the floor to the ceiling. We moved from our place and we just packed everything. We didn't actually go through it. We just moved, brought everything here and hadn't even gone through it yet. And I have a deadlift platform behind my computer. And I bought that first and I was like, where the hell am I going to put it? I had to hire somebody to help me go through my garage. Just to put the platform in here. And then I heard, people are getting sick. I don't know. I hear gyms closing. And I was like, and I just started buying shit. I bought this cage behind me. I started buying specialty barbells, which I learned from powerlifting. And I did 6 IFBB Pro shows out of this 1-car garage.
Wow.
Without one machine. Not one
That's
machine,
great.
but one pulley.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So to drive your point home further, using those meat and potato exercises, and by the way, I don't have a mirror in here. I didn't even use a mirror to do it.
That's great. That's
It
great.
was fun. You know, coming back, I'm really excited about the whole Masters thing.
Mhm.
I'm fucking pumped. First of all, our generation is awesome. We were ignored by our parents. We're being ignored by our kids. It's our time. We look fantastic. Look, there's so many of us, they don't know what to do. They got to make a division, right?
Right.
Because they got to get us off the open stage because guess what? We still compete. I came in fourth and fifth place out of 19 and 23 girls that were half my age.
Yeah.
So Adam, if I'm reading between the lines, are you sending in a letter then? Are you sending in your letter?
I don't know about that, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. It would depend on a lot of things for me. I'm hopeful. Let's just say that. And I'm not done with powerlifting. And I'm not saying that you have to choose because you don't. And I really think that in order to be the best at either, you have to do both. Just stay in your season.
Right.
If you're in a strength season, stay there. If you're in a bodybuilding, stay with conditioning. You know, don't be trying to do max work when you're doing cardio 5 days. You know, but I don't know who's running it. What's going on? You tell me. Maybe sell me on it.
So
Vin's the ambassador. Vin knows everything.
All right.
No, I don't know everything, but so they're having all the divisions. I believe in bodybuilding, it's going to be 45 and over, and they're going to have 212. They're going to women's physique, and
Classic.
it's going to be in Cluj, Romania, on August 26th, Masters Olympia. You have to write a letter of intent, and they're going to be picking who's invited. They're going to let you know on Monday, April 24th. So you have, I believe, until the beginning of April to get your letter in. And listen, Ann, it would be great to be together in Romania and, you know, represent Jersey in the Olympia,
Oh
Masters
my
Olympia.
God.
And
You
Florida.
Yes.
You've come along, like you have a great story. And, you know, you mentioned earlier about being sober. Just take us back for a second. How did you start? How did you stop? Like,
Okay.
what was, so, because people want to know, like, there's so many people out there that have been through their own demons, and that, you know, as well as I do, people who train in a gym are battling something.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times.
First of all, I think most of us are neurodivergent. So since I've gotten that diagnosis, I started to unpack it because being diagnosed as an adult is like a whole other thing in of itself. So I'm actually working with somebody who specializes in adult diagnosis. So, but like the more I learn about it, the more I realize I think we all are on some kind of spectrum because one, if you like the way this feels, you're not neurotypical. Most people would run away from this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that in of itself is already saying that for us, we need stimulation neurologically at a way higher level. So there's other things, other factors that go along with that. I'm really sensitive to certain light, certain noises, crowds. There's quite a list that I was able to check off in order to come to the conclusion, you know, to get that diagnosis. So I agree with you there, and then there's also often trauma, and it could have been trauma because of not getting the need, you know, not having your needs met as a kid because you're neurodivergent and people just said you were weird and laughed, or they put you in in my case, I went to Catholic school for 13 years. They literally, I would go to my homeroom, they would take me out of the school and bring me right to the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Been there. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of us do.
Yep.
A lot of us do. Powerlifters too. I mean, if you enjoy having 3 times, 4 times your body weight, crushing your spine, you're not neurotypical. I've got news for you.
Mhm.
And if that pain feels good, it's my experience in talking to people that there is usually some kind of trauma involved. And definitely as far as alcohol, so I'm sober from being addicted to people, places, and things. My poison was alcohol. First of all, alcohol is poison. They sell it where there's wine and spirits. The reason why they call it spirits is because it's demonic in nature.
Mm.
So, and I mean, I can remember, well, first of all, I always had alcohol. My mother drank and smoked when she was pregnant. She didn't want big babies.
Okay.
This was 50 years ago. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, you would see a pregnant woman drink and smoke in a restaurant, right? I mean, imagine seeing that now. It seems really crazy, but it wasn't crazy back then.
Right.
By the way, I was a 10-pound baby and my brother was 11. So then she says, imagine if I didn't drink.
Yeah.
Anyway.
First of all, yeah. And then, I mean, the other thing too is I'm Irish Italian. So on my father's side, everybody drinks whiskey and beer. On my mother's side, my grandmother made wine. And everybody,
Okay.
you know, and they were all hard drinkers anyway. If a baby cried, put a little whiskey in their bottle, rub a little whiskey on their gums. You know what I'm saying? The adults would get shit-faced and we would drink their drinks. Excuse me. I mean, I was a toddler and I knew how to make a screwdriver, 7-7, you know, scotch on the rocks. I was making mixed drinks because they were playing cards and didn't want to get up from their hand.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
So, so I knew how to play cards really young too. From there, I was ignored. I had 2 older brothers, so if I had any attention paid to me, I was just getting my ass kicked.
Mm.
And my parents were tired. You know, my brothers were bad, kind of. They were pretty bad. They weren't kind of. They were bad. So, you know, they were always dealing, and they were older, so they were always dealing with them. So they really just kind of forgot about me, I think. It was just, I'm fairly certain 6 years later, I was not intended to begin with. And I was reminded of that daily by my brothers. So, so as you can tell, my trauma started really early on.
Oh.
And alcohol was always a part of my life. So 9 years old, I was drinking in the woods with my friends, smoking cigarettes. By 12, I was drinking in the woods, smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. Not much after that, I was smoking cigarettes, drinking, smoking weed, doing coke, doing acid,
Wow. Okay.
doing everything pretty much in high school. Yeah, by my senior year of high school, I had tried just about everything there was. I didn't shoot up, but that doesn't give me that doesn't give me a medal. You know what I mean? So the trauma continued, and then I had my daughter right after my 19th birthday, a couple months after my 19th birthday. That was not intentional. So there was more trauma. And then what did I do? I brought this baby home to my mother's house, the same woman who.
Yep.
Right. So then I was just always a drink. Probably most of the shows that you saw me at, Vinny, at least if it was after we bought our house in 2006, which was a total shit show and mistake. Actually, Kemper helped us buy our house. That's a long story, but anyway, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for off the air.
That'll be part 2.
He was like my dad.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when he found out that, you know, we were having trouble, he was really upset for me. He was really mad that I didn't come talk to him sooner. But I'm talking about Kemper. But anyway, so that's when my drinking peaked, which sucked for my kids, right? Because they were in like 5th and 8th grade.
Mm.
And that's when, because I had finally gotten away from my mother, and I moved kind of far away on purpose to try to, I wanted to get my kids away from her. But we bought our house at the peak of the market in 2006. The market crashed.
Yep.
We needed to refi. They wouldn't let us. Our property value went up. Our taxes went up. It was a really hard time. It was a really, really hard time. So that's definitely when my drinking, but I can't say it was the very worst, but that's when it started to get really bad. That was 2006. By 2012, my husband and I split. You knew Darren.
Yep.
He was a good bodybuilder and a good coach.
Yeah.
That's that.
Move on.
So, Ann, what was the turning point then to finally make you say, "Like, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to drop the bottle and go sober"?
Well, then I told everybody I'm going to the beach, and I packed up my car like right before my 40th birthday, and I drove 1,900 miles here. That was 10 years ago. So I literally pretty much Darren and I had split. There was no way I was going to be able to keep my house by myself, which I had basically been doing for 2 years anyway, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So much had happened leading up to that point, and the trauma I experienced with my family growing up is that was generational. My parents experienced it too, and my grandparents were immigrants. So who the fuck knows what they experienced?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a little bit, and it's rough to hear.
Yep.
So, I came here. My dad passed away shortly after that. When my dad passed, that's when I hit bottom. That was my hope. Hopefully, that was the last bottom, right? And I was prepping for something. I don't even know what. I was trying to prep for something. I had gotten into another fight, drinking, and I woke up in jail.
Wow. Okay.
And again, and that was it. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And I quit cold turkey. And the thing that sucks when you're drinking a lot, when you're like, at least as much as I was, and for me, I would say the base was a handle of vodka a day.
Oh.
So you were what they call a functioning alcoholic then, correct? Is that the right term, I guess?
Going to work every day. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it was painful. I mean, you just feel like shit nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember pulling into parking lots at the liquor store and being like, God, let somebody hit me with a car.
Yeah.
Please strike me with lightning. Don't let me in there. And I'd be shit faced before I got to the first light.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it did. It was that bad. So, so I quit cold turkey, not knowing that you're not supposed to. And I went blind for a couple days.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You can actually die from alcohol withdrawal. It's actually the only drug that you can die from.
Interesting.
Withdrawals. There's a lot of other drugs that have withdrawal symptoms and they're really bad, but the only one that you can actually die from is alcohol.
Wow.
And
okay.
I still get migraines because of that. Not as frequently or as or as bad, but for a couple of years afterwards, I would still get migraines. And I went to AA, and AA was great. And I worked my steps, and I got a sponsor, and I did all that, and it was fantastic until it wasn't. And the reason why it wasn't for me was because they became like my family. They became judgmental. Where were you? They started, and I'm like, wait a minute, I just got out of this, so I don't want to, I think 12-step programs save people's lives. Their rate of success is actually ridiculously low. It's like 39%, if that, probably less. I don't even. So I did utilize that. I got sober in Delray. I didn't know that Delray Beach is literally like the rehab capital of the world.
Interesting.
So I was on the beach at a meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Literally, when we were done with our meeting on Saturday and Sunday mornings, we'd all jumped on paddle boards and paddleboarded up and down the water. So I mean, like, getting sober in Florida is a little different probably than other. There's plenty to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's plenty of people that are in the same situation. So there's no short. I mean, I've been getting up before the sun ever since. And I watch birds instead of get annoyed by their sounds.
That's awesome. Well, you seem like you're in a better place right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to quickly say, so there's people commenting here. You guys don't see it, but I do. So I'm going to bring one in here. One gentleman, your story's resonating. He says 8 years clean from, I don't know this drug, Dilaudid addiction, and 5 years clean from Suboxone therapy. And other people are saying thank you for sharing and whatnot. So thank you.
Rock on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Ian,
yeah.
When
so
you,
we're happy that you've come out better on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's now behind you and you're putting your life back together. Did you think of competing? Was that when John Meadows contacted you?
So I was still drinking when I started working with John, unfortunately. John and I started together in 2010. And then he got me ready for the Jersey, and then I stayed with him for 6 years.
Okay.
I actually did his training probably even longer than that. For a brief period of time, Dave Palumbo did my nutrition, and then I just kind of did it myself. Well, Justin Harris, honestly, I have consulted with him since 2002 for every single show I've done, and I think I counted 26 or 27. So he's a genius. He's no bullshit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's good. I don't think anybody should do it by themselves.
Yeah,
because if you're going to be worth half a shit, you're going to be brain dead anyway. So
right.
Right.
Yeah.
You should have somebody that you could trust, that you can at least, tell me, does the throttle need to go down harder? Can I try back? Because you really can't. And I didn't even use a mirror. So, I really was just using my videos, my posing videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I was going to say, I asked Vinny this question a while ago. Okay, so you took 16 years to get your pro card. Was that correct?
Yeah.
So what kept you focused and motivated? Because some people be like, 16 years, it's not happening. What kept you saying, I'm going to keep doing, I'm going to get the damn thing?
I'm spiteful.
Okay.
I love it. That's great.
I think one of the things, I think one of the boldest things I've done is to stick around. I stay anyway, because I decide if I'm going to stop.
Yep.
Nobody else is going to decide besides me.
Yep.
So, as long as they'll let me on the stage, I can't control the placings. I never could. I had to make it really fucking easy for them in order for me to go pro, and I knew that, and I did. And it was actually not that hard to do once I stopped drinking, because I'm not sure if you know what the physiological effects of alcohol are on the body, but it literally stops protein synthesis.
Yeah.
So, like, if you drink after your workout, you've literally just erased everything you've just done.
Right. Yeah.
It slows down everything. It slows down your entire digestive system. It slows down your liver, all your filtering organs. It affects. It can cause cancer. Your hormones. It can lower your testosterone. It's just yeah. So it was actually a lot easier for me to prep like a normal person, like a normal prep, once I took that out. Mm-hmm. Which is why I did really well. 2 divisions. I took the class and the overall.
And that was at the Masters Nationals.
Yeah.
And that was 2012 or
That
after
was 2016.
16.
Yeah, when I won the jersey in 2012, and then I did the USA's, and then I did nationals a bunch of times.
How many times did you do the Nationals?
Total?
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Yeah, I did the Nationals 9 times.
Yeah.
I did the USA twice.
At least you got to move around. I just kept going to Vegas in July. Like,
yeah, when
What
we
were you
did the
thinking?
Nationals back in the 90s, every 2 years it was in a different spot.
yeah,
So the promoter had to guarantee he would do it the following year. So they had one promoter for 2 years.
I know, it's
And
weird.
then they would bid. So yeah, I went to New Orleans, Dallas,
I did
Atlanta.
I did it in Atlanta. We didn't both do it in Atlanta, did we?
I did Atlanta. Well, I can't remember. I
did it in
remember.
2012.
No, I didn't do it in 12. I wasn't competing in 2000. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I was like almost. I was a pro by then, and you know,
Yeah.
your 16 years was different than mine. My 16 years, by the time I turned pro, I was so burnt out that, all I ever fantasized and thought about was becoming a pro.
Me too.
So when I became a pro, I didn't know what to do as a pro, if that makes any sense.
I did the same thing. That's why I went to powerlifting.
Right.
I did my pro debut 2 weeks after I turned pro, and then I didn't do bodybuilding again for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny, like talk about old school, and you were one of the few people that I would reach out to over the years and say, hey, Ann, we would go back and forth. I would talk to you about, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? I always trusted your aura to me. I was always attracted to in a like sister way.
Yeah.
And I always felt like if I ask Ann, she's going to tell me the fucking truth.
Absolutely, because I got your back. Because I have your back. Because I love you.
Thank you.
Of course.
But I think
and I would do the same with you.
Yep.
I think that's a Northeast mentality though, because I'm a New Yorker, and when people say, "How's your day going?" Everywhere else, you just expect to say, "Okay." But if you're a New Yorker, you're going to fucking hear about it. Or New Jersey, you're going to hear about your day, whether you like it or not. You're going to hear the truth. And I think that's just the mentality of Northeasterners.
Yeah, it is. And we're honest. And it, it's definitely not like that down here. It's not. And I miss that. I don't miss the winters. I don't miss the winters, but I miss the people a lot. I do. And I miss the gyms. I do. A lot.
Yeah, Diamond is the same way as it was when I walked in at 17. The same paneling.
Dwayne, I'm so proud of him.
He's done a great job.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all of us. First of all, can I just say that? I'm really fucking proud of our whole little crew from back then. But yeah, look at the way that Dwayne, he went from cleaning that place to owning it and made it really kept it. But made it nice, at the same, kept it the same, but took the holes out of the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the very few places that I could walk in after not being there for a year, and people who I don't even know giving me bro hugs, high fives. What's up? It's like your home.
Yeah. You're making me want to go. You're really making me want to go. I'm going to have to make a trip up.
So you and I were talking earlier, and you had mentioned something that we haven't seen in probably 20 years. Couples bodybuilding.
Yes.
Oh, wow, yes.
So what made you think of that?
Oh, John and I, Meadows.
So wait. Before you answer, for those who are watching that don't know what we're talking about, back in the day, in the 80s, early 90s, they used to have couples bodybuilding. It would be a male and a female paired together, and they would be judged on symmetry, compatibility,
choreography,
choreography, posing and everything. So Ann asked me, Ann mentioned it, and I'm like, wow, I haven't even thought of masters couples bodybuilding in a long time. So go ahead, explain.
And then, and speaking of John Kemper and oh my gosh, Shirley. Yeah, I have an old book from I guess it may have gone into the 80s because that's probably when they were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a screenshot and send you the picture of them.
Okay. Yeah, that was
I think there's a picture of him with Carla Dunlap too.
Wow.
So
didn't Carla Dunlap also do it with Tony Pearson?
Maybe
Yes.
it was yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Did she do it with both of them?
I don't know.
I know Tony, but I don't know about the other.
Kemper.
And then it was
it probably was just Tony.
The other
I would love go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would love to see it again. I mean, I've seen some of the kids, and I say kids because everybody's a kid to me. But some of the younger bodybuilders kind of do it either in a guest posing or just for the gram or whatever. But I mean, but like competitively, I would absolutely. And I remember talking about this with Meadows, 13 years ago. Like, when are they going to bring this back? I would definitely do it. Oh God, I would. First of all, I love posing.
Yeah.
I love it. Even when I'm training for powerlifting, a song might come on, and my husband knows there are certain songs. If it comes on, just give her. She's gonna pose, make some space. She's gonna do some freestyle shit right now. Like, I love posing, and actually Darren and I got to do a couple of guest posings together on stage. We did like a whole skit and everything. And I think it's a blast. My favorite part of being on stage is actually the pose down. When I get to pose with other when I get to pose with other people. So I think if I had the energy of another person, I think that, and especially, because then it's like a dance, right? It's a dance, there's communication, it's a show. I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting on a performance. We're putting on a show. We're entertaining.
Right.
As far as, I mean.
Oh, you mean it's not going back and forth?
What's that?
You mean it's not going back and forth across the stage going, come on.
Right. Well, I mean, that's fine too. And if you want to
applaud for me.
That is fine too. I am I ham that shit up. I am like front and center. I want everybody to come after me. But no, but I think for couples, I think that it's a beautiful art form that we got all these other fucking divisions, for crying out loud. Why? Like, I think it's one that should definitely come back.
Well, so maybe the powers to be might be listening to this, or somebody's going to talk to the powers to be, and it might happen. Who knows?
Yeah, and bringing in Masters, I'll get down with you. That would get me back. That would definitely get me back.
Yes. All right. We'll pair up.
Yeah.
So
I have an idea. I'm going to talk to you about it after we're off.
All right.
So, and we had Rusty Jeffers on. Do you know who Rusty Jeffers is?
Yes.
Okay, so we had Rusty Jeffers on a couple of weeks ago. Phenomenal poser as well. And we discussed, do you feel that posing is a lost art in today's climate?
Well, it's weird in some divisions. It doesn't exist in some divisions. So it's like it's hard for me to even watch some divisions. And frankly, there are some I just don't. So, to answer your question, yes, I think it's a very lost art. And I think that people lose sight of the fact that we're there to entertain.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't even, like, people will pick songs that resonate with them and stuff like that. It's not about you.
I say that all the time.
It's not about you. You're showcasing and you're performing and you're trying to draw people's attention. I posed to the song did resonate with me, but it was fucking adorable. I posed to I'm Still Standing.
Oh wow.
And I had fun with it. I had a blast. I used it 6 times. No, I used it, 4 times. But yeah, I had so much fun with it. Actually, Darren helped me with that routine. Darren Charles.
Okay.
How awesome is that to have like Darren's a pretty
He was one
phenomenal.
of. It's funny you saying that because we're not going to know who's invited until Monday, April 24th, and I do the same thing you do. When I hear songs, I'm like, well, that would be a great song. Oh wait, let me not get too excited yet because I'm not invited yet. But I hear all these songs and I get the same way. I think, wow, I think that I hear Darren Charles is doing the Masters Olympia. I know he's going to bring his A game with the posing routine.
Oh yeah.
And I know Rusty Jeffers is going to bring his A game with a posing routine. And I have an idea of what I want to do. I won't tell anybody. I was telling Sean a little bit the other day. And you get so involved with the posing routine. It becomes you.
Mm-hmm.
And most people today don't understand that. And they just, the guys in the classic don't realize they're in classic for one reason and one reason only. It's because it's the weight class.
Right.
Right. So they're doing it because they want to be classic, but eventually, as time goes on, they're not going to make that weight, and they're going to have to compete.
Right. It happens
too. Right.
The weights for that class are pretty low.
Yeah. But more power to them. But as I said before, a lot of people today focus on decorating, not building.
Yeah.
And there are some really good classic guys who do a great job of posing. So I think there's a fine line when you see like mass monsters posing really well, opposed to guys who only been training 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference.
Yeah, and if you can move that kind of that mass gracefully and fluidly, I think that is really freaking impressive. And I want to see that more than I want to see the other.
And you mentioned Melvin Anthony earlier, I think, and he always had a posing routine that was like amazing. Flex Wheeler had a great posing routine.
Sean Ray.
Kevin LeBron. I love Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, they had, I think that era had respect for what they were representing.
We all did. It meant something then.
Yeah, it meant something.
Now, I mean, for us to be able to call myself an IFBB pro, that in of itself was sobering. Because that was like, man, it really meant a lot to me.
Sure.
I really, I did a lot of stupid things to try to turn pro that could have killed me. You know what I mean? And it happens. So it meant really. I made a lot of sacrifices to get there.
Sure, I appreciate what you've done. Yeah.
So,
and somebody has a question here. Says, what was one of Ann's favorite gyms in New Jersey?
Diamond Gym is the best gym.
Okay.
I got to mention Strong and Shapely. I know Bob's not listening. Well, maybe he is. So I got to say it. But Strong and Shapely is a great gym too. Diamond Gym is my home gym. It's still my home gym. And if I went there, I would feel at home, just the same way that you do, the same way that Sean does, Clarita. I remember judging Sean. His first show, he was 19 years old. I think he weighed 85 pounds. He looked like an alien because he was so tiny.
I think he's your height. I think he's 5'2" as well.
We're the same height.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about the same height. And I remember he came up to me and he was like, "What do I have to do?" And I was like, "Everything. You have to do everything. You have to train heavy. You have to train light. You have to eat. You have to eat more." And I think at the time, usually the first thing you hear, "Oh, my job, it's hard to eat."
Yep.
Drink it.
Yeah.
I have drank tuna and salsa. You do what you got to do.
Sacrifices.
It's
Yeah.
it's not that. If you're getting pleasure out of food when you're in a prep, what the fuck are you doing a prep for?
Well, today's competitor says you shouldn't be miserable.
Well, then don't
Yeah.
compete. I don't want to compete against somebody like that and then have them do well. I don't.
I hear
know
you.
what I'm saying? I mean, I could see they're softer, and it happens. So this is the other reason why I'm hopeful for Masters, because we are harder. You know what I mean? Being harder, there's certain things that you have to sacrifice when you come in harder like that.
Sure.
I guess what I'm saying is, in the open, I think they're rewarding, at least as far as women are concerned, more aesthetics from the neck up, right? That have nothing to do with the body. I'm hopeful that in Masters, maybe they can focus more on the body.
And they are.
Well, that would be, I wish that they would do that more in the open too.
What I'm finding, Ann, is there's two versions of Masters. You have the Masters like us, that we've been doing it for 30 years. And then you have the guys and the women who were interested in competing 25, 30 years ago, graduated college, got a job, raised a family, still worked out throughout the years. And now they're back on stage.
I agree
so
with you
there's
there.
two different schools.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
I see that. And you know what? As far as because I coach too, as far as clients are concerned, they're my favorite clients.
The Masters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they don't fuck around.
They don't.
And they listen.
And they can afford it because they went to school first and got jobs.
Well, that's the whole reason why I created this Masters Muscle podcast, because I wanted to shed light on the 40 and over athlete.
Yeah, I think it's great because I think and there's a lot of us, and I think I think it's awesome. And then especially if they are going to make it more challenging, because they took the point system away. I don't know if they did that for everybody, but they did that for female bodybuilding. If they're going to make it harder to do the Open Olympia, it's prestigious. You want to do that, fine. Then have some kind of an alternative for those of us that could definitely hang from here down.
Another division?
Well, Masters.
Well, there you go. So listen, you have June 21st, there's a show, the West Coast Pro, Masters Pro in California. And you got the Chicago in July, Tampa in August. And August is there's another show in Florida, Max Fit Pro. They have female bodybuilding.
Where is this?
It's look on the calendar, the IFBB calendar, but it's called the Max Fit Pro, August 19th. And it's a week before the Masters Olympia. And then you have the Legion, and you have I think that's it.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of Master shows now. Yeah,
that's good. And who's in charge of the Masters? Is that all the same?
All under the same umbrella of the IFBB with Jim and Tyler. So with the Masters Olympia, Alana Papa, I believe, I guess she's the promoter or helping Jake Wood because she lives in Romania. So the letter I wrote had to go to her, and all my correspondence now is with her. So we'll see what happens.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
I hope. You never know, man. I mean, listen.
Why not?
Who knows? I'm hoping. When I first came back, we talked, and should I do a 212? Should I compete again? I was going back and forth, and I never in a million years thought I would have 8 Masters Pro wins now, and looking at the possibility of stepping on stage at the Masters Olympia.
I know.
So,
I think
it's like, I want to do a 212 one more time, but
I do hope that they consider the fact that we're masters, right? The fact we don't have a lot of time, right?
Right. My time is
no. Fuck, let us, the ones that really want it, just why don't make it so hard? Don't.
Well, I think after this year, it's going to go to a point system. I believe this is what I'm hearing.
Even though the Open's not.
Well, the Masters Olympia, I think, is a little different than the Open. They're not going to take chances in Masters doing stupid things to get in shape, right? Yeah. So they're not going to take that chance. And I think it's going to be either it's a point system or you write a letter again. Then they're going to pick who they want. I'm not sure. It's just what I heard. And what bothers me is, why are we waiting until April 24th? Can't we know now? Can't we know right now?
Why? Now. Yeah, well, especially if you have to prep for it.
Well, at that point, you're 18 weeks out, so there's plenty of time.
Yeah, you have to, but then you're conditioning. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but
I'm already training for
it. You're prepping now.
Yeah, I'm prepping for it.
Yeah.
And if the powers that be don't see it fit that I'm on that stage, then I'll do the Masters World in Pittsburgh, which would be a week later.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I'm going to go jump off a bridge.
Stop.
And you're making enough noise that they hear you. They hear you, brother.
Yeah, and you
just whoever, they hear you.
And you're a damn good bodybuilder.
Thank you. I just want them to know I'm serious. That's all. I'm serious what I'm doing.
And you got to remember, Vin, we talk about this a lot, when we talk to each other on the phone here. There's people that are putting the name in that are still actively competing, like yourself.
Right.
And there's other people that have kind of retired that might make the comeback. So it's like, I would think you'd want to play it safe go with the guys and girls that are currently competing, that are still walking the walk. So you're not shocking the system from being, I mean, we know a couple of people, I'm not going to name drop, but we know a couple of people, Vin, that have been retired for years and like, do I, don't I? It's going to be a shock to their system.
But why wouldn't those people just do a Masters Pro show instead of trying to do the Olympia?
Well, I think the prestige is the name, Masters Olympia.
Yeah, but if you haven't competed in 2-3 years, is that something you would really want to do?
It would make me nervous to go to that level.
I mean, like you're talking about it. I mean, there's a few reasons in my head right now why I probably will not be sending in a letter. But one of which would be I would want to win a pro show. I'd want to win a pro Masters show first.
Right.
Me.
But, sure, I understand the mindset.
When did you last compete, Ann?
Tampa Pro the year before last.
Okay, so you're still fairly fresh. After 2 years, a year and a half.
18 months.
Okay.
And how did you do?
I did not do well. I didn't do well there. I actually I have diverticulosis.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it started, which actually explains a lot, because when I started getting ready, my waist came down really nicely, which I don't know, you probably remember because you've known me for a long time. I've always had a wide waist, and it came down really nice and narrow, and it looked great. And then even Martin, who doesn't have a whole lot of nice things to say about me, usually was like, damn girl, and then all of a sudden it started to blow up again. And I was like, what the fuck? Nothing changed. And then I was having a lot of stomach pain. So and it was like I did 6 shows in a row.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So I kept doing, so that was probably part of why it even happened. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just from being on such a restricted diet for so long. But I was afraid, like I was afraid if I pull back on the throttle, how am I going to get it back again? And I was riding the wave hard. It's hard once the throttle goes down, it is very hard to pull it back off. For some of us, anyway.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, the fact that I've had to for health reasons was kind of devastating. And the last year was hell, actually, because I was having all these stomach issues. I was having other issues. We realized that my house actually had mold in it, and I was probably having an adverse effect to the mycotoxins in the house. And then plus the really long, hard prep on top of it, like my whole system started to kind of shut down. So I just took like a 6 month break. I actually just did dance lessons and didn't really train very hard. And then I've been back to training for like the last 6 months. I'm actually 4 weeks out from a meet now.
Cool.
Oh wow, good for you.
I'm not going to be hitting. I won't even be hitting my own numbers at this meet. It's just kind of. I like going through the strength phase. First of all, I love powerlifting anyway, and the training is complementary to bodybuilding anyway.
Sure.
So once I get through this, and then I go back into a bodybuilding phase, and then I'll probably do more of a conditioning phase. So basically, I'm going to be getting ready too. I just don't know that I'll be getting ready for anything.
So, sounds like you're saying the Masters Olympia this year, at least, is not in the cards for you by your choice.
Well, the same people that you're saying that I have to ask for permission to do it are the same people that have denied me for other shows.
Okay. Well, it's Masters now.
Right?
So, listen.
I don't like to beg, Vinny.
Well, it's not begging. It's not begging.
They know what I'm going to bring to the table.
And
you know, you know what? Honestly, I don't know. If things went different, when I came back to make a fresh, clean, new start. I made a pro debut, and then I went to powerlifting. I was gone for 4 years. I literally took a time machine back in the middle of quarantine and found myself backstage again. The reception didn't feel exactly warm, which is not why I was there. I was there for me, and it really was like I felt like it was a dream, and I had literally taken a time machine, and I had so much fun. I had fun for the prep. I had fun watching the changes. I had a blast on stage. I loved posing. It was all great, but and I'm not really sure what went wrong, why maybe I really don't know. I don't know, but I asked and I tried at that point. I did really well at the New York Pro when it was in Atlanta. And I knew I was going to, when you know. But I didn't do as well as I thought I was going to. And I didn't even go eat a meal. I stayed in the crowd and waited to talk to each judge till it was over.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked, what can I do to improve? I was told nothing. You're perfect.
Wow. Okay.
What would that message be to you?
Sometimes I say to people, and I actually made a post today about sometimes your best doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, our best sometimes is second to somebody else's best. And sometimes our best is second to somebody else's mediocre. And that's just the way it is because it's a combination of everything. I feel that this is a whole new door waiting to open for you, for me. I don't think you should look at it as a negative, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but as a friend, I think that you putting your name in the hat at the Masters Olympia, your story, your drive is going to only make the event even better. It needs to be on the stage at the Masters Olympia.
Finn, you forgot to throw the heart in too. You got to throw. Come on, we love you.
So moving forward, where do we see Ann maybe in the next 5 months? After the powerlifting meet, let's talk again.
All right. We'll talk.
How can everybody who's watching tonight, how can they reach you? Your platform for social media? What?
I'm on Instagram. I am IFBB Pro and Sheehan.
You have a website?
I don't. We were going to talk about OnlyFans. We forgot to bring it up. And you know what? But yeah, they can reach me there. Instagram, honestly, if I don't follow you, you can't reach me. So I guess what would I say if you really want to reach me?
Are you private on Instagram? Can people still see
No, but if you you can put your settings, because the messages would then sometimes get ridiculous.
I know, you get the schmoes.
Yeah. And listen, I have love. It's not that I don't have love for them, but subscribe and message me on OnlyFans. Right?
There you go.
So if you're a fan, message me on OnlyFans. If you're an athlete, hit me up on Instagram, and I'll know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, cool.
Yeah.
And for people listening on the audio platforms, it's ANNESHEEHAN, because I know
That's
Ann,
good.
a couple of different spellings.
Yep, that's it.
Well, Ann, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, and for Vinny, he just started a Masters Muscle IG account. It's _Masters Muscle. And stay tuned for next Wednesday when we have the very first Arnold Classic winner, Rich Gaspari. As always, thank you so much for listening.
Very cool. Another New Jersey representative.
Again, thank you so much, Ann. Have a great night.
Thank you. All right.
And it was a
Take care,
pleasure.
guys.
Come on.